Hello and happy new year. We are back with more videos that are going to be hitting your timeline every single week. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about patterns, specifically patterns that carriers are looking for in your messages. And as a good actor in the space, how you can avoid appearing to be a bad actor, which ends up with your messages being blocked or even a Sev0 violation. Hi, my name is Will Craig. I'm a co-founder of a company called Signal House. We are a tier 2 aggregator, which just means that we are a messaging provider that enables businesses to send messages to their contacts. We today leverage 10DLC, which is 10-digit long code application to person, or A2P messaging. This just means those local phone numbers that we all know where the first 3 digits corresponds to a local area code. But in this year, 2026, pretty soon actually, we're going to be launching short code and toll free as well. And then we have RCS and some other fun stuff on the horizon later this calendar year as well. So without further ado, let's jump into these patterns. So what the carriers are looking for when you're sending out a message is how similar your message appears to be spam or scam type messages. That's the first thing. We're going to talk about 2 different types of patterns. First one is going to be scam and spam. Second one is going to be patterns in your actual messaging. So your opt-out rate, your failure rate, things of that nature. So let's focus right now on scam and spam. It's really critical when you're sending out your content that it doesn't appear to be structured in the same way that a scam message would be structured. And here's what I mean by that, is that carriers are using AI models just like everyone else is to identify if traffic is good or not. Carriers have a dual mandate, and that dual mandate conflicts with itself. On one hand, they want every single message to get delivered that anyone tries. If your text message doesn't get delivered to someone, it's frustrating. Texting is a utility. The other side of it is they want 0 messages to get delivered that are scams. And so it's really challenging for them to discern whether or not a message is a scam. But here are some hallmarks of scam messages. The first one is going to be phishing or social engineering. This is basically when you are messaging someone and you are attempting to get them to give you information through a couple different means. One of them is just phishing, where you're sending a link and that link appears to be one thing. You click on it, it redirects to a different site. You don't actually notice that it redirects, and you put in your information there, or it appears to be the site that you wanted to put your information on. Like, let's say it's a link for facebook.com, but you didn't notice that one of the O's was a 0 in the link. Because of that, you're sent to a page that looks exactly like it. You put in your credentials, and now they have your credentials. But for texting and for scams, typically it's financial. So maybe they will send you to something that appears to be Bank of America or appears to be Chase. And instead, it is a site to get your credentials so that they can then log into your account and siphon your money. So it's pretty dangerous, and you have to be aware of it as a consumer. As a business, that's not typically something that you need to worry about your messages being close to. It's going to be more so the other type of phishing, which is called pig butchering. This is where you fatten up the pig before you butcher them. This is where you're sending a text message. As a scammer, you would send a text message that would say, "Hey, who is this?" Or, "Is this Diane?" Throw out a random name there. And the person responds and says, "No, it's not. It's actually so-and-so." And you say, "Oh man, well, it's always good to meet new people, etc." You learn a little bit about them, you gain their trust, and then you exploit that trust to get something that you need. Now, how does this play into your traffic as a business? It sounds pretty different than what your business traffic would be, right? Well, not necessarily. There's actually a lot of companies that will send a text message that says, "Hey, is this insert person's first name?" as the first text that they are sending out, because they want to clarify if that is the same person that they have on the list. But note, that is exactly the same first message that a scammer would send if they're phishing. So I always recommend to not do that. Just start out with your message. Say, "Hey, Diane, hey, person first name. I am Will from company ABC, here to clean your gutters and give you a free quote for that," or whatever the case may be. That's always going to be better than saying, "Hey, is this person?" Another one is the links that you are sending. So if you're sending a message out that is saying, for example, "Hey, click this link to claim your prize." And so let's say that you're running some kind of a sweepstake and people signed up for it, and you have to send out a message to the winner. "Hey, click this link to win your prize." of $50 or whatever the case may be. There's a monetary number in there as well. That link, if it has redirects in it, that's going to be a massive flag to the carriers, because a redirect, like we talked about before, is often used to get you on a site that you didn't really want to be on when you clicked on that. So if you are doing any kinds of sweepstakes, if you're doing any kinds of claims, we see this a lot on the insurance side, or maybe the government claims side, when you're reaching out to individuals who have opted in to receive their tax refund or something similar to that. And you're reaching out to them, you're saying, hey, this is urgent. You only have until this date to do this. Click this link. If there's a redirect in that, you are automatically going to get killed by the carriers. T-Mobile in particular is going to shut down your messaging straight up. So what are the ways to stay compliant in this space and sending good messages that are not going to get flagged in this particular subject, talking about the scam and spam messages? Well, the first one is to make sure your registration process is clean. So when you register your brand, which is the first step of the 10DLC registration process, brand registration is the business information, campaign registration is the messaging use case. So when you're registering your brand, you have to make sure that the legal company is your legal company. And then if you are going to be sending out any traffic that is not for your legal company, so let's say your company is ABC, but you have a sub company that sits inside of your company. It doesn't have its own EIN. It's not actually a company. It's just a brand that you market on behalf of. An example of this would be like PepsiCo and Mountain Dew or something similar. Always make sure that you're putting that brand name in the brand name category when you are submitting your brand. Then everything else as part of that campaign has to match that brand name. Your sample messages, your opt-out message, all your message flow, your description, everything needs to be for that specific brand. And then any links you're sending, either use a registered short link like the Signal House registered short link, or use a link that matches the domain of the brand. If you are sending out like a YouTube link, a Notion link, a Miro link, anything that's like a massive company, that's typically okay. But if you're registering your business as company ABC and you have a link to go to XYZ Corp in your message, they're going to flag that, because those are two different entities that you are messaging on behalf of. The last thing is to make sure that you are not putting any language in your messages that are going to appear like it's something urgent that they have to do. You can convey urgency through just putting the information out there. Hey, Diane, you have until January 15th to claim your check. Here's a link to do so. So that is totally fine. But if you say, hey, Diane, this is urgent, you have to click this link now, time is running out, those are things that are going to get flagged by the AI models of the carriers. And again, no link redirects unless you're using a verified short link, and then that short link has one single redirect. Always put your link in a redirect checker. And no, it's not okay if you wait 10 seconds and then redirect. You cannot have link redirects. That's something that all of the scammers are using, and it's something that the carriers are extremely attuned to. So now let's talk about the other type of pattern that the carriers are going to be looking at. It's just your overall message hygiene and your overall messaging patterns. And so what do I mean by this? The two biggest metrics they're going to be looking at are opt-out rate and failure rate, but they're also going to be looking at sentiment as well. So let's say your opt-out rate is less than 1%, which by the way is gold standard. Less than 1% gold standard, 1 to 2% is good. 2% to 4% is okay, but not great. 5 to 7 is bad. And above 7, you're getting shut down. But let's say that you have an opt-out rate less than 1%, and you've had that opt-out rate less than 1% for some time. Now, let's say you're doing some kind of re-engagement campaign where you have a list of 100,000 people that you're sending out. You've been in business for 10 years. These are all opted-in leads, but you haven't talked to some of these people in 8, 9, 10 years. Now, it's totally possible that all of those people are still the same people. They know who you are and they want to interact with you. But the likelihood is there's a subset of that population that don't want to. They could have changed their numbers. They may have completely forgot that they used your service 10 years ago. And what this means is that you could get a jump in your opt-out rate. So your opt-out rate could be less than 1%. You send out this list, 100,000 people. Let's say 10,000 opt out. That's 10%. Now your opt-out rate for that day is 10%. If I'm a carrier, I'm looking at this and alarm bells are ringing in my head. I'm seeing this and I'm saying, okay, what happened here? Something shifted in their outreach. Their outreach was totally compliant. It was perfect. And now it has actually shifted. Are they reaching out to people now? Are they just buying lists now? Are they reaching out to people that they don't have consent from? Did someone take over their account and they're sending out bad traffic that is obscene or whatever the case may be? It is a flag that will get eyes on your account. Carrier flagging is where you're getting less delivery than you otherwise would. So instead of 95, 98, 99% delivery, your delivery rate is in the high 80s or mid 80s. It's a sign that the carriers have found something about your traffic that they just don't really like. Now, let's talk about another pattern of your messaging. Let's talk about failure rates. So if your failure rates are starting to creep up because you're hitting, for example, landlines, let's say you haven't messaged landlines ever, and now you have a string of landlines that you're hitting, that's also going to cause you to have a carrier flag. And it's because landlines, of course, can't accept text messages. So if I'm a carrier, I'm thinking that you, again, are buying lists, typing in random numbers, using some kind of number generator. And because of that trend shifting, I am now going to cut down on what traffic I am allowing to deliver. So let's recap now. It's a lot of information inside of this video. We always try to make sure that we densely pack value for you in these. But let's talk about what we have discussed. So if you are doing any kind of messaging as a business, you need to make sure that you register your business correctly. So your legal company name, the brand that you're messaging is the brand name, and then everything flowing after that representing that brand name. When you're actually sending out traffic, you need to make sure that you're not putting anything in there that would unnecessarily create urgency around something. You can't have any link redirects either. You should always have a stop to opt out at the end of the message, and you should always introduce yourself and the business that you're sending traffic on behalf of. You don't have to introduce yourself, but definitely the business that you're sending the traffic on behalf of. That's already going to put you in a good spot, but you also have to look at the pattern that you're leaving with your opt-outs. So if you want to do any past customer re-engagement, just mix that into your normal outreach. If you just blast all of that customer re-engagement, you could have a high opt-out rate that just spikes randomly. And if it spikes randomly, that's a sign to the carriers that something is not right, and your delivery will suffer as a result. So I hope that this video provided you with value. I hope you learned something. If you did, leave it a like, thumbs up, comment. We will answer all of your comments. Please subscribe to our channel. We are going to be posting videos again very frequently, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks so much.